Welcome to Networking with Nathaniel, a podcast where I get to have conversations with entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate investors, and people that are just growing in their lives and in their business. So if that's applicable to you, if you're someone who's looking to grow, you might have hit the right spot here today. I am Nathaniel Hovsepian. I am a health and wellness coach for dads. I am a real estate investor as well. More importantly, though, I'm a husband and I am a father of 3 little humans. This show is not about me, though. This show is about the amazing guests that I get to have on, that I get to dive into their successes, their struggles, what's working and what's not working for them. Before I introduce myself to my guest for the day, if this is your first time here and you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and like the video so we can reach more people. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to episode 98 of Networking with Nathaniel, Rhea Campbell.
Nathaniel, so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so good to have you. It's been a long time coming. We've gone back and forth with Mike, your amazing assistant, and finally got it all scheduled. I'm really excited. We're going to boom, 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 because we got a half an hour time frame today to make sure that we're hitting your schedule. So just tell us really quick, what is it that you're working on? What's keeping you busy on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me. And I'm sorry we were doing a lot of the back and forth there. Things have been crazy over here in a very good way. All right. So what have I been working on? What haven't I been working on? So I'm a real estate investor. And really, I build companies. I actually had the privilege of selling a company that my husband and I built over 9 years last year to private equity. So we have gone full cycle. It was a 5-location direct primary care practice like concierge medicine that we were able to exit, which was pretty phenomenal. So I'm very accustomed to building companies that are durable, valuable, sustainable, and that can be sold to a private equity company, right? That's a sort of a different it's a different structure that you have to be mindful. When we started building that company, really the focus was on an exit, which meant that we were building a chassis from which we really could turn over a company that would sell. So when and I've been in commercial real estate for 22 years. I run my own company for 17 of those years. So when I transitioned out of tenant representation, which was the vertical of commercial real estate that I was in. So I started my career with CB Richard Ellis, which is the largest commercial real estate firm in the world, doing what's called tenant representation. So I represented occupiers of office space in the acquisition or disposition of that office space. So it's very consultative. It's a much more sort of like a consulting role. It's not like buying or selling buildings or homes, right? It's a totally different sort of practice, one in which you learn by working with others that are already further ahead. So you can't just take the real estate license or the broker's license and it teaches you that. That's not what it teaches you. And then 5 years after working with CB Richard Ellis, I went out on my own. I started my own company and then, did that for 17 years. But back in 2023, I looked around and thought, why don't I own these buildings? And, my camera freezes every once in a while. It's okay. It'll come.
That's all right. I can still hear you just fine.
Okay, good. You can hear me. But you're going to get my weird face, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's it. It is. Yeah.
Back. So this is a fun trick. Oh, this will be fun. I don't know why it does that. But what happened was I looked around and I thought, why don't I own these buildings? And so I made a shift and said, I'm going to start building my own real estate portfolio. And like many others, I had never been in a mastermind, or I didn't even really know. Like I was like, what are these mastermind things? And so I joined, I don't want to call it a mastermind. I joined a community, one that you and I are in, with other investors. And I learned a lot of the tools and techniques to buy, assets creatively. So I don't typically go to a traditional bank and put 20% down or 30% down, right? I will buy the assets on seller finance. Sometimes I'm raising the money through a syndicate. I might bring capital partners together in an operating agreement. We all have an active role and we buy the asset together. There's a variety of different strategies that we use. And so as that started to occur, I started to look at, okay, how do I build the company, right? You could do deals, but once you do enough deals, you have to start thinking about, I need to build the company that allows me to not just do deals, to actually have a company that can help me, you know, meet whatever those goals are. And so kind of fast forward what I do now, after 2.5 years, right, of kind of the world of investing. I own lots of properties. So I own a mobile home park, a hotel, a bunch of single family homes, some duplexes. I have a lending business. I lend my own money, and I also show other people who want to lend, who are kind of worried. We co-lend together sometimes. And then I also run a land business. So I have 9 people that work for me, and we buy and sell land all over the United States. We do a variety of things with it. We might buy it, do some minor improvements, and resell it. We might just buy it super low because there's a reason that the seller wants to sell it. We might just put it right back on the market and sell it. We might subdivide it, break it up into smaller pieces, right? Large parcel where you get more price per acre than you would in the larger parcel, and then sell that off. And born out of all of those companies' needs was another company that's called Syncara, that provides all of the services that all of those companies use. So bookkeeping, fractional CFO services, transaction coordination, um, um, underwriting, and data and analytics. So all 5 of those services I was outsourcing to other companies for thousands of dollars. And I looked at that and thought, I'm going to bring that in-house. I'm going to start another company, and we provide those services to other investors and other land investors. So that's, and then I forgot about this. I ran my first resilient investor workshop. So I love taking people with me. I love showing people what's possible, right, in the world of investing, lending, company building. And so I ran a 2-day workshop at the hotel that I bought creatively in Dover, Vermont. It was my first workshop. 45 people flew in from around the United States, and it was like a slumber party for investors. And it was a 2-day workshop. Vina Jetty, a powerhouse on multifamily, she came in, she was our speaker. Dr. Lickerman, who's my husband, came and talked about resilience, because you need to have, resilience can be built. Resilience is very important, obviously, in investing and making sure you're making good decisions and able to withstand the ups and downs of investing, as you know. And so this year, I'm actually running a much larger 2-day workshop. It's the Resilient Investor Chicago. I'm running it here in Chicago, November 1st and 2nd. And Pace Morby and Jamil Damji are going to be my speakers. We're expecting about 500 people. And I'm creating the room that I want for myself. I couldn't find it. And so I said, well, I'm going to create it. And that's amazing. That's my world today.
Yeah. That's so there's so much here. I forget what it is, like the mother of all invention is necessity, something like that. And you just go, nobody has this out there. You're also with I forget what you called it. Not Synovus. That's a London. Syncara. Yeah. That instead of having to outsource this, let me bring this in-house, and then I can do it better even probably. And now I'm providing this service for other people. Now it's its own entity. It's like you have all that verticality, and that, which is amazing. I have a bunch of questions. Before we jump to them, I'm going to go to a quick.
If you're a busy dad, or one that is looking to focus on their health and their wellness, the Fit Fatherhood community might be just for you. It's said that when we have our health, it frees us up to have many, many goals, but when we don't, we only focus on the one. So we're focused on keeping our health and wellness as a top priority in Fit Fatherhood. We've built this community of busy dads, all like-minded, looking to grow and flourish and be great examples for our families of what health and wellness looks like. So if that's you, or somebody who that might be for, follow the link in the description and come join the Fit Fatherhood Facebook group today. Let's get back to the show.
So you mentioned building a lot of companies, or building companies, and you mentioned you sold one. It was about a 5-year cycle. When you're Was that something you thought of right off the bat? And when you do think of that right off the bat, is the way you build the company a little different?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a really good question. It took actually 9 years. So it was nine
Oh, okay.
years in order to come full circle and exit. What happened was I ended up in that company by mistake. It was my husband's company. I had run my company for many years. My husband was at the University of Chicago. He oversaw the primary care groups as a physician, but he oversaw a 40 doc practice there, and then was assistant vice president of student and health services for 12,000 student lives. And he said to me one day, I really, I would like to start my own company. I'm 27 years right at the University of Chicago, an academician, a scientist, but he wanted to start his own company. He wanted to exercise that entrepreneurial muscle. And so I encouraged him, yes, let's go. And he started the company. Now he brought a second in command with him. Sadly, she died 6 weeks after we opened the first location. It was tragic. But so I had to step in because he said, I don't know how to run a company. I've never done this. I'm a physician. I've worked in the ivory tower, right, for 27 years. Like, I don't know this scrappy entrepreneurial stuff, but he's a really smart guy who can, who is voraciously learns anything very quickly. So I stepped in initially just to help get things kind of off the ground and started. And what very quickly happened was I saw the opportunity for this to be really a blockbuster business. I am the business person. I'm the crazy visionary, right? Who also is an integrator and a connector and a capital raiser, right? I sort of I wear all of those hats. A generalist, I guess you could say. And so, about a year and a half after I had been in there sort of getting things up and going, I realized the opportunity. And I looked at the healthcare landscape, right? And I realized that the market is going to be perfect for us. The wave is sort of catching up to us, our business. And so, yes, to answer to your question is, yes, you build the company differently when you are contemplating selling it to an acquirer, right? Whether that be private equity, whether that be a strategic, right? Whoever it is that's going to buy your company wants to buy something that's durable, valuable, and sustainable, and that that actually has a chassis. So it can't be the person. I can't be the business, because if you buy the business and you're not buying me, the business will not continue without me. So there's a lot of things that you do very early on in a business like that feels like, why are we doing this? So like we build handbooks and SOPs, anything we do more than once, right? You systematize it. You're constantly looking for ways that you can create a moat around your business so that you have the competitive edge. What is your edge? What makes you bigger, better, faster, et cetera, than your competitors? And so, creating divisions within the company, you've got to have sales strategy, you've got to have pricing strategy, right? You have to have that well formulated, documented. You have to have very tight, very clean financials. You need to run your business like a business. Don't run it like your personal piggy bank. A lot of business owners, right, will run a lot of personal expenses through their business.
Yeah.
Not really an issue if there's just a couple of things that you're running through your business, because you might use it for personal and for business. And you run it through your business and maybe you bifurcate off some of that. But that means that when you go to open the books to the potential acquirer, you've got to have these carve-outs. You've got to carve all of that out. So you just want to be careful about what you're presenting to an outside acquirer, and think about how you're presenting that beautiful bride, right? It needs to look like a beautiful bride or a beautiful groom to the acquirer, to the partner that wants to come in and strategically acquire the company. So we very intentionally built systems, processes, staffing, structure that would be saleable. And so that is the way that I think. I actually think about every business I build now that way, unless I was just going to build a solopreneur sort of business, which I'm not. I mean, I have 17 people or 18 people, we counted the other night, that work for me in all of these different businesses that we built over the last 2.5 years. So it's been a pretty fast moving,
Sounds like it.
It's been pretty fast moving.
Yeah.
And I'm still building, I'm still systematizing, I'm still putting it all together.
It sounds a lot like if if my ultimate goal is to not be in the business, this is the way I want to build it. Because I want to build it with the intention of I don't need to be involved. Like you said, I'm not the business, because when you take me away, the business can't function.
Yeah.
And so if I'm, the SOPs are such a big thing that a lot of us, when we're getting started out, we forget about, or we just don't take seriously. It's like, be documenting these things that you're doing, because you want to be able to put somebody in there.
Yeah.
And Jesse Stanton calls it army proofing, like kind of joking, like make it as simple and repeatable as possible, so anybody can just step in and do that role.
Yes.
So I love that. Yeah. It's the treating it like your piggy bank too is something that we take very seriously. Yeah.
And financial stewardship, that was one thing. I just want to focus on that for a second. Really sound financial stewardship is very important. Look, I don't care if you're running a 1-woman show or a 15-woman show. Like, excellent financial stewardship is just important all around. Cash management, understanding where the money is going, understanding what your margins are. If you can't look at your business and understand where the highest and best return is, right, in a variety of different things, like, how do you know what you should be focused on if you're trying to get to the next income level or the next top line revenue level? Or if you don't understand what your expenses are, like, what should my expense ratios be? Like, I don't know. A lot of where I see a lot of new business owners like that are in the world of investing go wrong is they're doing deals and they're not really thinking about all of the back end systems that they need in order to drive insights to do better deals or to build a better performing portfolio. That's why you hear about a lot of new investors, after 2.5 years, 3 years, like, oh, I'm selling off my portfolio because it's not what I would build now. Well, right, because they didn't go into it building what they were creating. They didn't have a vision of what they were trying to create. And look, it's hard in the beginning. I didn't have a very clear vision. Like, you're testing and measuring and iterating as you go, but trying to have as much clarity as you can in the beginning will help you as you get a little further into your business. And that financial, strict financial stewardship will help you with that clarity.
There's a piece of this that is applicable to pretty every aspect of our lives too. And I think it's called Pareto's principle, or the 80-20. The rule of 80-20 is be focused 80% of your time. Whoa, excuse me. Yeah. On the on it's 20% of your things that are getting you 80% of your results. And so if you've learned those things, you can figure out where to just expand that 20% out and get much greater returns. And it's not just inside our business, it's in your relationships, it's in the workouts and nutrition that you do. And for thought of time here, because we're only going to have about 12 minutes left, we're not going to be able to dive too much into your nutrition, but I am curious about your diet, your OMAD diet, as you referenced before we started talking, and how that has impacted you. And on that, I'm just going to wrap an extra question in there. Is what other habits do you do on a daily or weekly basis that are helping you and allowing you to pour yourself into all these different components that you've got going on?
Yeah, those are good questions. So I'm an OMAD, 1 meal a day. So typically, and listen, this is for 2 reasons, right? Efficiency, and that's the way I feel and how I sleep. So I wake up in the morning, I have 4 shots of espresso with a little bit of nut milk, and then I don't eat during the day. Now, every once in a while, I do have protein chips in the middle of the day, but it's just straight protein. And then I eat really very, very high protein, very low carb. I don't eat any white. I call it white death, right? Yeah. Flour, sugar, pasta, right? Rice, none of that. So complex carbohydrates only, like, green vegetables, and then meat, chicken, and fish. And what that does is it does a couple of things. It keeps me super productive during the day. My brain, my focus, my sharpness is significantly better than it was when I would eat different types of food. And I've been eating this way for 6 years or 7 years. So it's, it's hard to compare exactly what it was like, but I'll try to remember. And then some other habits that I have is I go to bed at the same time. Doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter, Friday, Saturday night. I don't stay up late, right? My husband's very routine, right? You don't become a doctor by just throwing caution to the wind, right? So very routine. He's brought a lot of, that's rubbed off on me. So I'm much more routine. I work out pretty hardcore, right? That's like for my mental health, right? As well as my physical health, obviously. But having these routines, right? And having eating the right foods. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't put food, I keep it very close to the source, because my body and my mind is a machine that's used to produce things. Right? That's the way I think about it, right? I'm a machine and I have to keep my machine in really great working order in order to be able to produce the widgets that I produce throughout the day.
The widgets.
Right, the widgets. Now that's in my business, but in my relationships, it allows me to be present and show up and be more, participate better and be more active, right? All of those things, they all play into each other. And there's only so much time in your life, right? We're not here for a long time, right? We're here for kind of a blip in time. So I want to make the best use of all my time, all my energy, all my activity to meet the goals that I have for myself, which are really lofty, right? And I want to be able to show up for my family, show up for the people that need me, right? Show up for my staff, build something that's valuable, durable, sustainable, like a legacy, right? And enjoy the process so that I'm not tired and burned out and stuck in my head with feeling bad about how I look, right?
Yeah. It's like you've listened to my Fit Fatherhood podcast before almost.
Yeah. Your Fit Fatherhood podcast, by the way, that is really key. Teaching people, right? And you've got a segment, right? Fit Dads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dads, right? Take care of yourselves. The reason you need to take care of yourselves, two reasons. One, you want to be able to show up for your kids and grow up with your kids. Your kids are they're just going to take more and more and more energy, right? They're going to be active. You want to be active with them. But also because then when your kids do grow up, right, and you become in your late 50s like me, in your 60s, right, you want to be able to be super active and active in your own life and in their lives, right? They have grandchildren or, right, they're off to college. That's an important part of being able to continually show up, right? Taking care of ourselves physically, takes care of ourselves mentally, takes care of our families because we can still show up, takes care of our staff, takes care of our extended families, takes care of our friends. I don't know. It's all connected to me.
It is very, and it's, the longevity that we have when we're taking care of ourselves now is that we can go pour ourselves into the business, but if we're not taking care of our body and taking care of our health, then 10 years from now, when we've built out this amazing business, what the heck was the point? I can't enjoy it. I can't go, enjoy the beach. And I joke a little bit about it. Most jokes are born in some truth, though, is that, I don't work out for abs. I don't work out. I'm married, so I don't need to go attractive. I want to stay attractive to her, but, that's not why I work out, so I could dominate my kids in sports.
That's right. Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, that's why I do, and it's trickled down. I just saw something this morning that was talking about just the habits that we're doing now and we're employing now are generational. It's not just me and my kids; it's their kids and their kids' kids, and it goes down a ways. And so, I need to be putting these things and instilling these morals and values into my children right now, so they can pass those good things down, and we can just really grow our family, tree out in good and healthy ways.
Yeah, they're watching you, right? They're watching you. They're modeling what you are showing them. You're showing them how to adult. And when you show them how to adult, they're going to model you. And so you're showing them, this is how we take care of our bodies. This is how we take care of our minds. This is how we take care of each other. This is how we show up. This is how we apologize when we don't handle things well. This is how we fight and then apologize when we don't handle things well. They're watching all of that.
Yeah. that last bit is something that we are working on.
We're all a work in progress, let me tell you. I make so many mistakes, but can I give you one little tip, because this is really
Absolutely.
important. So, we all fight with our spouses. You wouldn't be normal if you didn't.
Yeah.
So, right? So if you fight with your spouse, and let's say you fight with your spouse in front of your kids and you don't handle it well and you're wrong. What we tend to do sometimes is we go and we make up with our spouse in private and quiet, especially if it was really like not pretty, right? We do that in quiet and private, like, oh, I didn't handle that well, or I'm so sorry. You don't do it in front of your kids. Well, my husband and I would do it in front of our kid. Wow, you know what? I didn't handle that well, and I want to apologize to you for being just a complete bore, right? I'm so sorry. Because I'm showing my son, right, especially when he was younger, oh, mom and dad just had a really bad fight, and that scares them. But then they see the two of us come back openly and say, like, I didn't handle that well. I should have done this and I didn't. Because now you're modeling what true and normal behavior is. We are not perfect. We will not get this right. But we want to show you how you make it right when you don't handle it well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Jay, the real estate doctor, I forget who coined it for him, but said the things that our kids are learning, especially early on, are caught, not taught. Yeah. And so I could tell them all the things, but what is really going in are the things that they're seeing. And so you're 100% on that, is that we fight in front of them, and then we go make up, or apologize and close that loop with outside of their purview, so they're not aware of it. And so that's very important.
You have to demonstrate, you have to show them, especially you have younger kids, right? So like they're in the ages where you're showing them how to adult. And so adulting means there's all sorts of difficult things that you have to do, difficult conversations with partners. It might be a very adult conversation, but show them how to have an adult conversation, because sometimes we think like a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old, like, well, they're not going to understand that. Why would I show them? Like, oh, we show my kid everything. He sees it's even, so we travel a lot. And when he was younger, I would give him his passport and say, you hand your passport to security. You hand your passport to TSA, right? Yeah. And so he would like walk over and hand his passport. You're in the restaurant. You ever have this, like, you're in the restaurant and they come and they look at you and, what would your son like? And I'd say, well, I don't know. Why don't you ask my son?
Yeah.
And my
he
son,
knows what he wants.
Right, he knows what he wants. I know he's only 4, but he can talk. Yeah. And so they always give them the kids menu. We would always say, please don't kids menu. Yeah. Because my kid eats like normal food, like the rest of us. I give him the adult menu, help him make some choices, because I don't want him to be like, I want the cake, right? Yeah. So help him, hey, here are the choices. Here's what this looks like. And then let him, when the waiter or waitress comes over, talk to the adult and make that choice. Yeah. Because he's learning how to interact in the world. One other thing that I'll leave you with, which is really cool. We taught my son how to shake hands. So like, think about it, like a little kid who's 4. Well, we usually don't, 3 or 4, right? Whatever that age is, they can shake hands. So when somebody meets them, like I taught him how to shake hands. When you meet someone, oh, hi, my name is, and you put your hand out, look them in the eye, right? How do we interact with other people? And so showing him how to do that, and then letting him practice when like adults come into the house and he's meeting them. Oh, this is Judy. Judy, this is my son, Cruz. Oh, hi, Judy. Nice to meet you. Right? Wow. That's very adult. But he's learning how to look them in the eye, be comfortable, and also how to be like, kids are not equivalent to adults because their brains are not developed. So they can't make certain decisions for themselves. But if you teach them enough about the choices that they can make, you can give them age-appropriate choices to make, and then let them make those choices. We did that very early on. I wanted my son to be able to make choices for himself. Do you want the red coat or the blue coat? Do you want to wear your coat? I mean, I don't want to wear my coat. It's cold out. Okay. Then guess what? When we get outside, because it's Chicago and it's the winter, it's going to be very, very cold. And you know what? I would bring the coat because I know his little arms are going to get red and freezing and he's going to start to cry. Well, he then experienced the consequences of the cold And guess what? Now he knows, oh, I have to wear a coat when it's this weather out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really giving them agency and giving them the choices. It's hard when it's a 4-year-old. You're just like, oh, this kid's 4. He doesn't know how to make choices. Well, if you're giving them the opportunity, they're going to learn. We're a little bit over. Can I ask you the one question?
Yes,
here?
of course. Okay. No, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
It's I've asked every guest on Networking with Nathaniel so far, so I didn't want you to be the lone one. When your time is done on this earth, Rhea, and you are wherever you believe you're going, what do you want to be remembered for by the people that you've left behind?
Oh, I'm crystal clear on this. Absolutely crystal clear. I want people to look back and say, wow, she showed me how to do this, whatever this is, which is what I'm doing now. I want people, so I'm not a great teacher, but I'm a great doer. And I want people to be able to come along with me and see things and feel courageous enough to try them on their own. And so when my time is over, when I'm gone, dead and gone, I want them to look back and go, you know what? She showed me exactly what to do, and in investing, lending, whatever it is that I'm doing. Yeah. And then I want them to say that their lives changed as a result of what I showed them.
I don't know if you can hear this, but she's 9 months as of 2 days ago. Has learned that she can slam her hands on the glass and get Dad's attention.
Oh, I love that. Of course, right? Of course. Yeah. Oh, that's super cute.
Slam it on the glass, big old smile. I know we could continue talking for a lot longer on the investing and the business and the parenting and all that, but I appreciate you coming on and giving us the time that you have. And I don't want to take up any more of it because you've got lots of other things to do. What's the best place for people to reach out to you? I see you have your Instagram handle on there.
I do. Instagram is the best place. You get an immediate, almost immediate response from me. So it's Rhea Campbell _ORD, which is the Chicago O'Hare call sign.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here. If you would hang out just a minute so we can make sure the recording gets all the way uploaded.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Rhea Campbell. We could definitely have gone down that rabbit hole with the parenting. She dropped so much value just on the parenting and the knowledge and the growing aspect in 3 minutes there, where, and on the relationship side of things too, because getting into arguments, we do tend to go into private to solve them, but we should be doing that and showing them that there was a solution and how we were able to come to that in front of our children. So I don't know if anybody here, Brittany especially, was listening to that and we can start incorporating it. But if anybody here live right now is in those relationships and has younger kids, that is a super, super impactful thing to be incorporating right away. Hopefully we're not arguing a whole lot, but when that does happen, solve that argument and right in front of the kids. So I appreciate Rhea's time. I appreciate y'all for being here live and being active in the chat. Thank you so much. If you're not already subscribed to the channel and you enjoyed the show, this was a shortened version of Networking with Nathaniel, but Rhea's very busy and she was gracious enough to come and give us her time today. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't already. We will be back next week, Wednesday at noon Eastern time. Later, y'all.